Topic that has been given to me is managing ego in interpersonal relationships. So we'll begin with a prayer. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samastajana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. It is said life is a movement in relationships. Continuously there will be some or the other relationship that we have in life. And these relationships are like the mirrors of life, where we can see ourselves, we can know about ourselves, we can learn, improve, many things we can do. So, for a successful relationship, whatever it may be, if you have to choose one of the most important factors, what would you say? The foundation of any successful relationship would be what?
Trust.
Wonderful. Trust. Love. Understanding.
Thinking of the other person first.
Very nice. Thinking of the other person first. Empathy. Namaste. Anyone else? The foundation of a successful relationship. Whatever you think, there is no specific right answer in this. So many people gave so many answers. All of them apply. Some amount of humor. See, different things are necessary for a successful relationship, but in my understanding, one of the most important aspects is self-love and self-acceptance. It begins from there. Definitely we require trust, we require to put other person first, empathy, humor, love, many things. But if self-love is not there, then there will be a lot of challenges in the relationship, because then we cling to the opposite person to make us feel loved, happy. There comes possessiveness. Sometimes we dominate over the other person to feel worthy, to feel stronger. Many of those things happen. So though we always say that put the other person first, but I can put the other person first when I am comfortable with myself. So self-love is a very, very important aspect. How much do I love myself, and do I accept myself as I am? So many negative tendencies that come out are a result of lack of self-love. Because I don't love myself enough, or I think more of my limitations than my strengths. So I don't feel good or happy about myself as who I am. So it's very important to have that self-love. Sometimes there is a fear that if I love myself, I will become selfish. But that is not true. We can only give what we have. If I have wealth, I can share or not. Suppose I don't have wealth. Even if I want to give, I can't. If I have knowledge, I can share. So if I have to have love, if I want to share love, I must have that in me. And so the first aspect of ego is, if I have enough self-love, a lot of need for ego and egoistic behavior itself cuts out. So self-love means what? Being comfortable with who I am, being aware of my strengths, my weaknesses, accepting myself as I am. So I don't keep having conflict that, I am not up to the mark, I am not good enough, I am not adequate. Many times the world may make us feel like that. Many times it happens that way, that peer pressure is there, society pressure is there, some success I have to achieve. So many factors go into this thought process. So we think that until those things don't happen, I am not a worthy person, or I'm not a great person, I am not somebody. But those things will happen if I have self love. Self love is the foundation of all achievements, success, happiness, innovative thinking, creativity, everything. And do you think that spirituality and self love go together, or they are opposite of each other?
If that's the base, it has to go together.
No, if it has to go together, not like that, but do they really go together?
Spirituality is the way to be happy. So it has to be.
Right. Many people think opposite, because they say in spirituality you have to give up, you have to let go, it is always the other person first, so don't think about yourself, sacrifice, self sacrifice. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people run away from spirituality, because they feel that spirituality will not make me love myself. It will tell me whatever I love, you should leave it. You love good food, live in self control.
Is it not to be attached?
True, but that is because you have studied, so you have a certain understanding. In general, what happens in the world, one thing spirituality is for those who have nothing better to achieve in life, dejected, despondent, depressed people who are escapists, who don't want to enjoy life, they will go to this. But the first aspect will be self love. Do I accept myself as I am? Do I love myself as I am? And if you see, one of the main things happened in the Gita is that Arjun was not able to accept himself in the war, that I have to fight, and not only fight, I have to kill my own people. What the Gita did to him, one of the basic things that it did to him was made him accept himself as he is and his situation. And so he was able to do his duty after that. One very nice line comes in the Gita, Uddhared Atmana Atmanam. Lift yourself by yourself, do not condemn yourself. Self condemnation will ruin our life and the relationships also. And there is one voice in our mind which goes on doing that to us, which will go on telling us, Tumse kya hone wala? I don't think you can do it. You are not made for this. Continuously a defeatist voice is there in us who goes on pulling us down. So Gita says, don't condemn yourself. Lift yourself by yourself. So first aspect of managing ego is to have a healthy self-respect, self-esteem. Because if I have that, I don't need to go into inferiority, I don't need to go into superiority. And self-love it makes us feel also good. When I count my blessings, when I count my strengths, when I do what I love to do, what does the Gita tell us? Do what is your swadharma, do what you are made for. Find your niche, engage in that work, then you feel good about yourself. There's one popular saying which goes, if you want happiness for an hour, you take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go for a picnic. If you want happiness for a week, travel out of town. If you want happiness for a month, get married. If you want happiness for an year, you inherit wealth. But if you want happiness forever, then what do? Do what you love and love what you do. If I do that, I feel good, I feel happy, I feel strong. That's the foundation of all good relationships. Ego also is down in such a situation. So that is the first aspect. That let there be self-love. And we can begin the day with self-love, we can end the day with self-love. Let the day not begin with thinking about what problems I have to solve today, what crisis I have to handle today, what challenges I have to face today. That will come second. Can I tell myself that I love myself, I am happy, my life is going on well, there are so many blessings in my life. If I begin my day with that, there will be so much of strength and security. So that is the first aspect. I made like a memory aid just for us to remember many words which start with C so that we just as a memory. So first aspect in managing ego is where we care for others. First comes self-respect, self-love, then comes care for others. So many times what happens in relationships, we are so caught up in our own ego that we don't care for others genuinely. Superficially, we may appear to be caring for others, but it's actually all about I, me, and myself only. In so many of these movies, you see sometimes they have this relationships, and then one of them will get frustrated and say, it's always about you, it is about your life, your plans, your ambitions, your preferences. I am not there in relationships at all. Why that happens? Because deep down, either self-love is not there, and so a person is only thinking about oneself and one is not aware of what the other person needs, what the other person is feeling. And one always wants to prove, I am always right. That, what is it called? One-upmanship. One expression of ego is one-upmanship. I am always right. And so it will always be my way or highway. There may not be middle ground. If I care for others, there is a great joy in that actually. And relationships are meant for that. To help us to expand out of ego, to feel the joy of oneness. Living in the ego is a big pain. First and foremost, we have to experience that. Then I want to go out of ego. How strange it is, if we have ego, even if we are amidst so many people who really love us, what does the ego make us feel? Nobody loves me. Even if there are people to help us, we feel I have to do all this by myself only. So continuously one feels lonely, one feels victimized, one feels that, I am not cared for, there is not enough support, there is not enough people, feeling left out, feeling victimized. So if I feel that this is actually my ego, if I feel the pain of that, I will want to come out. I will want to expand. I will want to, experience what it is to really love someone with whole heart. And in any relationship that is possible, whether it is parent, child, spouse, siblings, teacher, student, any relationship. If one starts putting the other first, after having developed self-love, then there is so much joy in making others happy. There's so much joy in giving that love. But our notion in our mind many times is, if my desire is fulfilled, then I am happy. What Vedanta tells us, if we make others happy, in that we will feel happy. When we go and do some seva, why do we feel happy? Somebody is suffering. We go and give some food, some clothes, some medicine. We help out in any way. We may not even know that person. But there, for that time, what have we done? We have risen above our ego, identified with the pain of somebody, gone out to serve selflessly. So where I care for the other, where I remember that there are two people in a relationship, sometimes that requires reminder. However strange it may sound, but it does require reminder that there are two people in a relationship and the other person's preference matters. There are so many times these stereotypes where the other person is not taken into consideration at all. Even in simple decision making, right from food onwards. So from there to the highest things, the other person is not taken into consideration. Then that is a sign of a very strong ego. So how does one manage? Ask for opinion, involve them in decision making, let them choose sometimes. Many times it can happen, when you go out, let us say, to eat food. Today you order whatever you feel like, I will have what you order. Just an example. And mutual understanding. So it can be done with mutual understanding. It can be done sometimes just leaving it to the other person. Depends on how one wants to do it. But the point is to care. That care, if it is there, then it becomes very enjoyable experience. So first C is for care for others. Second C is communicate. So many problems in relationship come because communication only is not there. And basic communication one may do. Hi, how are you? What have you eaten? Where are you? What are you doing today? When will you come home? What would you like to eat? All that goes on. Functional communication, that is called. But heart to heart talk, opening up, doesn't happen. And appreciation, Bapre Baap, how much conjuicy one does in that. Why can't one just genuinely appreciate? If even we learn this one thing in life, that just appreciate for even simple things. How people feel in our presence is important. And we can make them feel good and happy by just appreciating something about them. That is also one way to come out of our ego, because we have to see what is good, what is nice about others. Then we can appreciate. So in communication, what one is going through, obviously we don't open up to everybody for everything. That discretion is required. But in close relationships, many times there is a lot of lack of communication. One of the reasons is ego. Why should I talk? Why should I express? They should understand without my expressing. It is a test of their love. If without my telling, this person can get me my favorite item on my birthday, that means that person loves me. If after I tell only that person gets, then what is the point? There is no love. Now this other person will try the best and from his or her standpoint get something that he or she thinks is good. But this person is not ready to accept. Because if mind is fixated. Then why don't you just tell? No, I will not tell. So many expectations like that in relationships. One doesn't tell. It's not only about things. What one is going through, many times one doesn't share. Because if you share, there is a fear that person will judge me. Or I show my vulnerable side, then that person will think I am weak. Or that person starts giving me solutions. So the person thinks I am not capable of solving my problems. So why should I communicate? I don't want to communicate. So one sign of ego is lack of communication. So many times people live under the same roof, work under the same, company, in the same organization, but no proper communication. Some insecurity is there, some fear is there. And especially, it's one very powerful thing in a relationship is if I open up and show my vulnerability to somebody in a very close relationship, that bonds that relationship stronger. The ego doesn't allow us to think that way. Especially the world stereotypes are terrible. Man has to be the, problem solver and face the big bad world out there, can't become weak, cannot cry, cannot show. Why all that? Man also is a human being. So stereotypes one has to break, and today I think a lot of people are becoming aware of many of these stereotypes, and they are breaking stereotypes too. When we speak about gender equality and all that, that is happening. So in a way that is good, but it should happen genuinely, consistently. So, communication, appreciation, expression, all the positives, negatives, everything. There is some notion that man doesn't share much and woman keeps on sharing. So, again, there is a problem in that. Obviously, each one can keep coming to their balance. Some joke I read, don't take it as a stereotype, it's just a joke, okay? One lady was telling the doctor that डॉक्टर साहब मेरे पति रात में नींद में बात करते हैं. So the doctor said उनको दिन में बात करने दो ना. So communication में that is also very important, that somebody may want to speak, let them speak. And somebody wants to speak and they want you to just listen, then just listen. Don't give solution. They just want an empathetic ear. They have all solutions. Don't give solution. One very good thing which can save a relationship is always ask, would you like me to hear you out or would you like me to also give you a solution? Ask. Especially one is not clear. Ask. Then it saves a lot of problems. So communication is one thing. Ego does not allow us to communicate. What happens is this ego prevents. Each one likes to live in their shell. Communication helps to break that. So first C was care for others. Second C is communicate, and especially communicate so that there is communicate out of love, out of respect, to build the trust. Trust is built by communication. Lack of communication will break the trust. That's a simple rule. How much to communicate, what to communicate, that matters. I mean, that's different in each situation. But without communication, trust cannot be built. And transparency in that communication is most important. People start doubting and suspecting only when transparency is not there. Then one feels this person is hiding something from me. And worst thoughts will be the person is hiding something from me and confiding in somebody else. So that person is more important than me. So much chaos just because one didn't tell, one didn't communicate. So communication is the second C. Third C is controlling attitude drop. See, I'm saying many of these will all link back to the first point, self-love. Controlling attitude. Sometimes people become, because lack of communication, lack of trust, then what happens? One wants control. One wants, I know, why can't you share your password with me? What are you hiding? And they will want to keep on checking the phone and the email and then WhatsApp, and what are you sending, to whom are you sending? Arey baapre. Where are you at this moment? Continuously updates have to be given. And nowadays there are enough softwares where it will track also where you are going. So people track each other. Now, where is my child? Where is my spouse? Where is this employee? Continuously one keeps on tracking. I'm not saying don't track at all, but I'm just saying what happens sometimes is that controlling nature is too much. That other person feels, stifled. The nature of ego is to control. The nature of love is free, let go. So that controlling nature can be controlled with more trust. As we build more trust, more communication, more transparency, then this attitude where I need to know everything, I need to control, that will reduce. So third C is controlling attitude. One has to drop that. Fourth C is criticism. Ego doesn't like criticism. Ego takes it very personally. So if I'm able to take criticism constructively and I'm able to criticize objectively, that is one way to manage the ego. What happens is when we criticize the person, not the issue, or not the particular behavior or the particular habit. So if somebody has, let us say, a habit to be late, let us say, simple example. So somebody is late. Now that habit can be criticized. That if when you come late, many things get upset. That's a habit that has to be corrected. But many times, what happens when we try to correct that, we don't express it like that. What we say, you are a late Latif, you will never be on time. I've given up hope on you. I don't think you will ever reach on time. You are useless on time management. Now, the issue is not at all about correcting the flaw. The issue is this person thinks so low about me. And now, in front of people, that person is saying this. All the more I feel embarrassed. I don't like this. This should not have happened like this. Punctuality to is left aside only. That one is not now able to even focus to correct. Now the issue is I need to change the perception of mine in that person's mind. So communication when we criticize, we have to criticize objectively. But a lot of times that ego makes us criticize personally. And the opposite person also, if criticized objectively, sometimes doesn't take it objectively, takes it very personally. Both these are signs of ego, where I want to criticize to make that other person feel low, to feel less, and I get a certain sense of superiority out of it. And sometimes I criticize so that when sometimes I face criticism with this attitude that I cannot be wrong. How can I be wrong? And why is this person criticizing me? So one can't accept criticism. So if I have to manage the ego, I should be able to take the criticism constructively and give criticism objectively. One very nice line I read somewhere, it said, criticize the performance, encourage the performer. It's a very beautiful line. Criticize the performance and encourage the performer, because if I encourage the performer, the performance can be bettered. If the performer feels discouraged, then we have lost both, performer also and the performance also gone. So criticism is another aspect. So I can test how much is my ego in a relationship from this factor, that if, and the best part is the people who are closest to us, they know us so thoroughly that their criticism is actually valid, genuine, and I can change. But that is what I take very personally. How can my spouse tell like this about me? A person who is a outsider can tell me, what a fool you are. Why did you invest in this company right now? Don't you know it is not proper? I may not take it very personally, but if my spouse says, why did you invest? What a fool you are. Why? Because suddenly I'm facing the fact that she knows I'm a fool. I don't want her to think that, but she knows or he knows, whatever it is. So when the closest people criticize, at that time, how do I take that criticism? That will show how much is the ego and how I respond to that. If I actually say, yes, it is a mistake I made, I am sorry, I apologize for it, I will change, it is over, simplest. In that, no one becomes lesser, no one is greater actually. But when I don't do that, then I won't accept, I will be in denial mode, I will not apologize, there is no chance to correct it. All this will only build the ego. So in relationships, how does ego get managed? When I can give criticism and accept criticism, and I can apologize and accept that yes, I will change. Then I will be able to forgive others also. One big sign of ego in in relationships is I can't forgive. I can't let go. So I will hold on to the grudge and keep reminding this person again and again and again. This is what you did. This is what happened so many years ago. This is how you behaved. I can't let this go. Why? Because if I can't take criticism and I can't change myself, I can't let go, then I can't let go even about others. So that is the next C. How many C's did we do? First one was care about others. Second, communicate clearly. Third is control, drop that tendency to control. Fourth is criticism, take and give objectively. Fifth is constant judgment is what ego does. That I have to stop. We keep on judging the opposite person, and the opposite person doesn't match up to our standards, so we always feel resentful that the opposite person is not doing enough, is not good enough for me. How many children go through that pressure because of parents? No matter what the child is doing, the parent is constantly judging, and the child doesn't feel confident and happy at all. The child goes on feeling, no matter what I do, I am still always lacking. In many relationships it happens. Teachers do it to students, parents do it to children, anyone. So if the opposite person feels this, that I am not good enough for you, I cannot match up to your standards always, that is not the flaw of the opposite person actually. If that person is putting the best, that is my flaw, because I am constantly making them feel lesser by my judgments, my attitude, my behavior. Why should I make anyone feel that way? If I want harmony in relationships, then I should make people feel good about themselves. Even if they have certain challenges, I can help them to grow out of them, make them more stronger in a positive way. But many times criticism keeps happening. So this constant judgment and feeling resentful, that such people feel very lonely. That's how ego isolates us. We keep on judging everybody around us and we reject. Not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. And one feels, I don't think there is anybody in this world who can match up to my standards. So I'm lonely. Why should I feel that way? All this, again, I'm saying it all boils back to lack of self-love. So that is constant judgment can be stopped. Next one is care for the love language. That is another important aspect. See, theoretically we say ego surrenders. Ego can be dropped when we invoke love. How do we practice it? Understand what is the love language of the opposite person. Some people feel good if you praise them. That is their love language. They want to hear praise. They want to hear appreciation. Praise. Some people feel good if you give them gifts. You surprise them. Some people feel very happy if you keep surprising them. Some people feel happy if you spend time with them. You don't have to do anything. Just sit beside me. What should I do? Nothing. You just be here. Let us sit and watch the sunset together. That's the love language of that person. Now sit and watch. Yeah, the mobile though is one thing which keeps on engaging everybody, it isolates everyone. I read another thing somewhere, very interesting. It says, लोग बहुत अजीब होते हैं कि अगर मोबाइल खराब हो गया तो बच्चे की वजह से खराब हो गया, और अगर बच्चा खराब हो गया तो मोबाइल की वजह से खराब हो गया. So mobile actually is meant to communicate and increase our bond and communication, but it is making us more and more isolated. So some people want to spend time doing nothing also. We may feel, what are we doing? Nothing productive. But for that person, it is an emotional thing that you spend 5 minutes with me amidst your busy schedule. Especially if you are a busy person, then if you take out that 5 minutes and sit, that person's week, month, year, everything is made. So I have to understand what is the love language. It does not apply only in romantic relationships. It applies in all relationships. What makes that other person feel good? When we say care for others, give up the ego, it is to understand that. And also that love language can change. Don't say, I thought your love language was gifts, now I brought gifts for you. Now you want time also. Choose what you want. अब एक थोड़ी होता है. Sometimes it's a combination, sometimes depends on situation. Relationships are like that, people are changing.
Another point is nowadays the latest what I feel is you sit beside me, I go surfing TV, you don't notice I'm surfing.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Enjoy
one.
every channel which you are at. Then you say, what do we do sitting? You say, "Oh, surfing." No, but sit next to me. Let me surf. And you feel as though nothing is happening.
Correct. So sunrise, sunset is replaced by surfing there.
Yes.
In some way that is not fair actually. But ठीक है. At least if you are watching the same program together, then that's something good. Now this person is going on browsing something, surfing one channel after the other, and not allowing the other person to see something. It's frustrating.
But sitting with them, that's
Sitting with them, then that's okay. Just hold the hand and sit. That ठीक है. Or whatever that is.
holding hand is not possible.
Not
for
required.
surfing.
दोनों हाथ से थोड़ी कर रहे हैं. एक हाथ से करो ना. Anyway, the point was that care for the other person's love language. So, what did we learn? Summarize again. First C, care for others. Second C, communicate. Third C, control, tendency to control, drop. Fourth C, criticism, not criticize. Criticism, take and give objectively. Fifth, constant judgment, drop. And sixth, care for the love language of the other person. Know the love language. Express. Even after knowing, many people don't express. And sometimes for revenge, they will do that. That is a sad thing. I know that you won't expect a gift from me when I have traveled abroad and come. I will not give. Why? I am doing some, taking revenge for something you did that time. Now I am giving it back to you. Very common. So all this keeps happening. That all these are expressions of ego. So if I want to manage ego in interpersonal relationships, these are simple methods of how we can do. I am not going into deep philosophical things at all. Competition is another thing. Is relationship meant to be a competition? No, not at all. Not even healthy competition.
It's supposed to be the same thing.
So you are on the same team psychologically, but you can always challenge each other to, what we call bring out the best in each other. That can always be done. That is called healthy way of manifesting each other's potential. So that each one helps the other to push their limits more and more. But when competition becomes something where one needs to prove to the other person, I am better than you, then that is not healthy. It may be in earning money, it may be in popularity, it may be in, looks, it may be in so many things. Then that means the relationship is not very healthy. There is some insecurity where one person feels that I need to compete and prove that I am greater, I am better. So that is another way. Ego thrives on competition. Love thrives on being cooperative, being complementary to each other. So in the Gita, Bhagavan calls it Yajna Bhavana. In a Yajna spirit, everyone comes together for a common cause, each one helping the other to give out their best. But there is no competition which is unhealthy. One, like how today people say relationship goals. One thing that helps a strong relationship is if people do things together which helps them to grow. It could be even simple things like exercise, going for a morning walk every day, or learning a new hobby, or doing, let us say, the work. You take care of the housework together. Like that, there are so many things which we can do, which can help to bond the relationship, and it can help to bring out the best in each other. Unfortunately, today we have to call all this as relationship goals and do it specifically. Earlier it was happening very naturally. But today the life has become much more individualistic. So now these things have to happen more consciously. As children, in our home at least, I'm giving my example, in our home we did not have any this distinction of, girls only will do work, boys will not do and all that. We used to do everything. I used to go with my mother to the market. We used to wash the dishes. In summer we used to cut this, mango and make this chunda, katki, all that. So many things we just learned. This thing was not there at all. And this maid servant will be there who will help and all that. At that point in time, we didn't have all those. We only were doing everything. So work of home, Diwali, one very important thing will be cleaning the house. Actually cleaning the whole house. Put water, clean the entire house, remove the cupboards, clean up, put it all back. And the whole family will do it together. Father will be there, mother will be there, children, siblings, everyone. Sunday, one program will be how, what do you call it? In English, I don't know. You take out the rust from that mango. Amras. So we used to learn how to take out rust from the mango and what to do with the gutli, and they'll make the osaman with that. And what is that called? The peel. That peel also can be utilized. You can make achar out of that peel also. You can dry it in the sun also. So many things you can do with that. All that we just learned like this. We didn't have to have separate relationship goals that father and son will do this together now. And this husband and wife will do this together now. It was a part and parcel of growing up. But today it all has to be done consciously. So that is the point. That how we spend time with each other, how we complement each other, how we cooperate with each other. There is so much of joy in all that. Honestly, if you ask me, there are challenges of joint family, there is no doubt. But there is so much more learning, there is so much more growth in a joint family. We have lived in a joint family, huge family. And we learned so many things. Relationship counseling and advice, nobody had to give us. We learned to adjust, and those times, so what all we, one TV used to be there, 2 channels maximum would come. One was Doordarshan. Now then second channel came DD2, that was one luxury. And only one remote will be there, and the grandfather in the evening will be having the remote in his hand. And he wants to watch news. Now what can we do? We have to adjust. Automatically we have learned so many things. How to break out of the shell and how to adjust, and you don't like it but you still sit there. Yeah, you learn, and sometimes you do some masti also. You go before finish the food fast, before grandfather finishes, go and take the remote, change the channel and hide the remote somewhere. Then you prevent that, I don't know where the remote is. All that happened. So that ego shell, one learned how to break out of. One learned ego clashes also used to happen. Then patch up also one does. But the goal was stay as a family. Now, what happens today? The base of the relationship only is from joint family we became nuclear family. From nuclear family we are becoming atomic family now. Even in nuclear family, each one is living for oneself. Now I don't know what it will be, string family, coax family, whatever it will be. No idea what that means. But highly individualistic is becoming. So then we have all these ego challenges. If we understand that spiritual growth happens, harmony happens, breaking out of ego happens through relationships only. We don't have to run away from them. They are the actual test of my life, of my growth. And the more spiritual I am, the more easier it can be to manage relationships. So this is one aspect. Competition. Instead of competition, what one has to do? Cooperate. Last point is cultivate devotion and detachment. Because if each of us anchor in the real source of happiness, love, peace, is the Lord Himself. If we depend on others for happiness completely, then that's where we become dependent, possessive, we get disappointed. No doubt we have some dependencies externally on people, some expectations, but am I anchoring in people or am I anchoring in the heart, the Lord in my heart? If I believe in God, great. If I don't believe, at least anchor in self love, either of these two. But devotion is, there is no substitute for devotion, because all our other relationships will change in life. Bhagwan remains constant throughout. And that Lord in our heart takes care of us every single moment, whether we know it or not. It's just that we have to become more aware, get the right understanding of who is this God in my heart. Wrong notions we have about God, about religion, about spirituality, so that prevents us. But if I learn to anchor within, every single moment there is this tremendous source of love and acceptance in my heart. That is the Lord. Bhagwan accepts each and every jiva as the person is, without any uh, without any discrimination, and without, unconditionally. That's the point. No condition that only if you are a devotee, if you worship this much, then I think you love me, otherwise you don't love me. No. Even with all our flaws, the Lord accepts. And is that not what we seek? What do we want in our life? We want people to love us as we are. We want people to accept us as we are. We want people to be unconditionally loving to us. Bhagwan is in our heart. And once we start tuning up to that Lord, few minutes a day, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is, quieten the mind, surrender in devotion to the Lord, you will see so many things around also is all expression of the Lord only. The love of the Lord expresses through everything in the creation all around us. Through the sunrise also, through the birds chirping also, through the dewdrops in the morning, through the wind which is blowing, through the people around us, through everything. Just that we are not tuned to that. So devotion makes us most strong, independent, and yet loving and compassionate, because the Lord is not some idol, someone, some abstract concept up there. The same Lord in my heart is in the hearts of all the beings. So compassion will naturally come. Bhakti is one very, very important aspect. If we anchor in bhakti, everything else falls into place. Many times that is what we leave. Then we are struggling in relationships. So cultivating devotion, cultivating detachment, knowing that one relationship which is absolute and strengthening that. Then it doesn't matter whether people love or don't love, they appreciate, don't appreciate. I derive all sense of love, happiness from my heart. Bhagwan is with me. I feel safe, I feel secure, and I operate from there. This comes through satsang, through study, through right understanding, reflection. So sometime one must allot on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, where one does this satsang, reflects, and does sadhana also to build a bond with the Lord. Like every other relationship which we have to cultivate, it requires time, it requires effort, it requires us to ensure that we understand each other. Bhakti also will happen like that only. Some people think that as we grow, वो अपने आप आ जाएगा. It will not happen अपने आप. We have to put efforts for that. And the earlier we start in life, the better. So many challenges in relationship will not arise when we anchor in devotion. So these are few aspects of how to manage ego in interpersonal relationships. If you have anything to share, ask, you are welcome. हाँ जी. Correct. It's a good idea. Definitely can be done. It helps to understand each other's standpoint about other things happening in the world. What nowadays people call worldview. What is your worldview? Sharing your thoughts about country, about anything. So many fashion, lots of stuff, films, so many things, regular stuff happening in life.
I guess that will lead to a certain amount of companionship. That will really aid the companionship.
Correct.
Basically, I has to be replaced by we.
Correct. They do this visual, ME. If you turn it upside down, it becomes WE. Yeah, me becomes me. The good aspect about that visual is what that we includes me. It is not at the cost of me. I take me is inside the we. A lot of times the problem is we think that it is all about other person, nothing about me, so I feel deprived. So many homemakers, they feel like that, no? I am doing everything for the family. What about me? What about my life? Where am I going? I am taking care of my spouse and the children and the in-laws and the whole house. But what about me? Where am I going? So that is not a good feeling to have. If one feels that way, one should definitely take out time for oneself also, and that family also has to understand that this person also needs, and their development also has to be supported. आप कुछ कह रहे थे? नहीं नहीं, आप कह रहे थे ना कुछ. ओके. ठीक है.
Swamiji,
Conclude?
thank you so much. Thank you so very much for this. This is something that could be. I think the idea never was for it to be, and that's how it panned out. The idea was to be that it's meant to be only for couples or this thing. It's just relationships in general, because I think it's relationships in general we all struggle with, and managing our own egos is the biggest problem. So only one more thing I wanted to add is when this relationship starts having problems is when we get complacent. Because before marriage, or they have more time for each other, they are appreciating each other, they ask each other's opinion. But once they get married, after some time, like we all, there's nothing to talk. You know me, I know you, that's it. But what you do in office and what I do at home, he doesn't want to ask me, I don't want to tell him, because he might be burdened with my thoughts, I might be. So the communication is the thing which lacks. Love is there, but we want to give peace to each other. That is the difference, therefore. I mean, there's no ego as such, but we do feel the communication definitely drops.
Yeah. That happens, but that's where the effort is. One has to put that effort to communicate, because the gap then keeps widening.
But they say, you don't understand office work. What do I explain to you? When we think if they explain, maybe we'll understand.
No, I agree, but that's where the one has to break out of that. That's where the stereotypes come in. No, if one has that stereotype, then that's where it stops communication. One should
They spend more time.
spend.
They're dating, they're spending, 18 hours talking to each other. So they say, I ate this, I drank this, I did this. Now the problem is our responsibilities. Make the time gap to be less. That's all.
No, but in any relationship it applies, not only in marriage.
No, no, what I mean
Even between parents, where people communicate, parents and children don't communicate. Employers, employees don't communicate. Friends, many times they don't communicate. Close friends, though, years it happens. One has not spoken. That is one thing that one has to figure out actually about life, What one is chasing, in that what is really meaningful, sometimes am I leaving it behind? That is some balance is required in that. I know people who say that I don't know when was the last I had a conversation with some of my closest friends, because they are so busy doing their work, their targets, and so many things. One has lost track of the relationships are the first casualty when there is preoccupation with something, some goal, something one has to achieve. While focus is important, but that's why people today are recognizing work life balance and many of these things, because somewhere balance is important. All said and done, if I achieve great things and my relationships are in a mess, then I don't even feel so good about that. So, all right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hare Om Shri Guru Namaha